Yeah, when I was at JSConf US, I was telling people like, hey, if you want to contribute to the Node.js website, come talk to me. But I was surprised, like nobody jumped on it, and I was like, but this is, I was like, this is catnip.
Hopefully after next weekend we'll have a even bigger foundation to for people to jump in on.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that after they start seeing like some movement and stuff, we're gonna see some contribution.
Yeah, it seems to me it's the large infrastructure tasks are hard to convince people to jump onto because they're a little bit more open-ended. So once we knock those out, I think we'll be in a good spot for contributors to start coming back in, pick up some more well-scoped tickets. Yeah, but Oscar, I'll let you take it away. We are live on YouTube. For those folks just tuning in, we're doing another design walkthrough, getting updates from Oscar. Cool. And then next weekend, Oscar and I are hanging out for all of Saturday. We're just going to knock out some giant chunks of the website. I'm going to post an issue. We'll have like a live stream thing going where people can call in and hang out as they want to. But the plan is for the two of us to really knock out a good chunk of the major infrastructure pieces. So we kind of push this to the next phase with the design we're going through today. So this is kind of the speak up or forever hold your peace. If you have comments on the design, or major comments on the design, we're going to go and start implementing next weekend. So Oscar, take it away.
Cool. So so I'm just gonna walk through all the pages and what I'm calling the buckets or hubs where people can go and find the information they need. So this is the entry point. This is kind of like the marketing homepage site, explaining briefly what Node is. Also, this is an area that we might not be able to do next Saturday or get to next Saturday, but this is kind of like, I was picturing this like what you had on your InVision, Adam, where you had the thing on this side, and then you would convert the stuff in here and consume APIs and all stuff. So it would be cool to have, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that next Saturday.
I say we get it done.
Okay, cool. And then the next piece is just like marketing 3 points of what Node is. The next step, actually, that's not the one that I want to show you. Hold on. So this is how. Hold on, because that's not. I hooked this incorrectly. Okay, this is it. So yeah, the same thing. The 2 entry points for downloading Node, it's here, LTS, and then if you click on here, I'll show you that in a second. It'll take you to the download page. Here it takes you to the Learn hub or the Learn page. This is what we just talked about. This is kind of like marketing stuff. This is to join the community. Some like companies that use it, and then some entry points for the Learn page as well, and then also for this page. I'm going to talk to you guys about this page and see if we need it, cool. Or if you want to do it, next on the next iteration. So yeah, this is the home page. Any questions in here, John? I don't know, you hadn't seen this before, I think.
The only comment might be the kind of 1, 2, 3 punch marketing pitch. Node encompasses so much. We've gotten some feedback that 3 TLDRs might not be enough, so you might like expand that to 6 or however many people come up with.
Cool.
Just calling it out on the stream here for people who might not pick up the hint right away. This is all like placeholder content for language. So we'll probably keep some lorem ipsum in here and solicit feedback from folks to fill in it with proper content. Down the line. Yeah, it'll be in this entire build out will be chilling out in a branch where people can go and play with it and actually give feedback on language. But Yeah, so that's my one comment there. If you scroll down, one other thing is we're probably going to want on the old foundation website, we had a case studies page where we could hold case studies from companies that used Node. They self-submitted them. So at some point, we'll probably want another page that trusted by teams around the world. It'll click out to there, and you can go see the testimonies and all that. So cool. I mean, it's as easy as throwing a button there to go to that little breakout page. So nothing too crazy. You
guys could shove that into the resources page in the meantime, basically. And so far on the homepage, I love it. I love everything you're talking about, Oscar. And definitely, it's one of those things where the best way to get the right answer on the internet is to put the wrong answer out there first. So once the shell of everything is up there, I think that then we can figure people are going to have opinions on what the heck it's going to say, and I'm sure that'll be a point of conversation for a while, but at least it'll be there.
True.
Right? All right. It's always fun. It's John, like you experienced at the conference, it's hard to get people to come to the table when it's underway, but once you do it and people think you've done it wrong, they come running. It's great.
Yeah. Well, so I was just looking at some of the tickets that we've been discussing from for the past couple months, basically. And one of them, somebody jumped on to, I think it was the release pages, and they were like, "Hey, I want to do this." But one of their first questions was, "So should I create a page using this Gatsby Node approach, or should I do this or do that?" And it seemed like that was a blocker for them. So once there's pages, skeletons, even at the least, of pages up there, I think it'll be a lot easier for people to come in and start working on things. So that's awesome. I'm stoked about it.
Cool. Awesome. Take it away.
Yeah. So here is just marketing thing for any events that are happening. So this might sometimes be there, might sometimes be not. So here's just a search. You can search for practically anything, and then the night mode or dark mode in here as well. Okay, so the entry points. So the first one is documentation. This is just anything that you would see in any doc site. First, the get started section with how to install Node and all that stuff. How do you get your first hello server? And then anything below that is pretty much what you had Adam before. So I added the little pills. I still have to do the code underneath, the actual explanation of what the change or what the isSocket method would look like. So I'll do that.
Yeah, and like we talked about last time, just lay out one of them so we have the basic look, and then we can clone that everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not doing just for record. I'm not doing it all of them, right? So
yeah, we appreciate your sanity more than
yeah. But this is how it looks like right now for documentation. You have the navigation as well as here, so you could potentially just navigate through the page in this section as well. For the Learn Hub, you have, so we talked about this last time, and I adjusted it a little bit better. So in here we have kind of the first page is just an introduction of the tutorials and kind of what you can learn, and I broke it down into Node fundamentals, intermediate tutorials, and then advanced tutorials. And each section is displayed here with their specific pages, right? So if you go to, for example, what's Node, it would just show you, I took this from what we already had, but it just takes you to the history and what's Node. And then it kind of, as you move, I'm following the same approach of the checkbox appears. And then, you would want to get the big check like this one, right? And then this one. I did keep I can't remember his name, but he was in the last. Yep. He said something really cool that we might not add this from the start, but it's kind of like a get certified thing and then learn more about it. We might not want to have that at first. So yeah, but I just kept it.
Have that pattern included though, because I could totally see other callouts like that throughout the getting started docs. You know, these kind of like these asides that aren't really related to the learn docs, but are you know, pivot points for going to jump off and do something else.
Yep. And then this paragraph is just it's a brief description of the tutorial, like what the section is and what you can expect to get if you complete all of these things, right? Like if you do node fundamentals, you're kind of like good. And then if you do intermediate fundamentals, then you can get we'll explain what you could get out of each section. Any feedback on this one, John, Adam?
I like it a lot so far. I think that's great. Obviously, intro should orient people, tell them, what are you going to get out of this before you get into it. That should be that way for probably all of the learning stuff that we have. And if we don't have that for the learning stuff, we can edit it to get it to that point. But I love it so far. I like the way this learn page is set up. One, because I think one of the big things is like JavaScript versus Node.js. Like what are the differences? What's the, when you think fundamentals of Node, what is it? How is it different from Node.js, or how is it different from JavaScript specifically? So that's an awesome section. You got the, Node.js versus the browsers in there. I'm sure different things will change, or we'll be able to add things and take things out, whatever. But I like how it's broken up. Fundamentals, intermediate things like the blocking, non-blocking, that's super important. Event loop, timers, and then specifically modules. I like, I'm not sure if that's just copy that we have in there now or whatever, but I love that because on the original site, it's extremely difficult to have, there's no list that I've been able to find so far of all of the built-in modules. I've always wanted to be able to point somebody to that, to be like, these are the built-in modules in Node.js, because they're different than, JavaScript specifically, et cetera. So I like that too specifically, but I like how it's broken up so far.
Got it. And so this is pretty much what I took this from what we already had, but I was kind of hoping you or someone else could help me break this down a little bit better, so that if you were brand new to JavaScript, right, and you wanted to learn more about Node, kind of like a user journey of learning, right? And if each section would make sense for someone that is completely new. I'm not too well versed on Node, so I know the basics of JavaScript. So I think I'm gonna need some help on breaking down basically what we already have, and then put it in a way that it makes sense from a learning journey, right? So I don't know if John, you want to take a look at that. I don't know if modules would be good to have in the documentation, or is it more appropriate in the learn section? But yeah, I'm gonna need some help with that, with like breaking down what you need to learn.
So it's right now it's broken down just from the content that we got donated to the project. That content can be broken up and split up a little bit more for this form factor. So like I said, having that module section is certainly nice for a newcomer. John, it's the actually Oscar, if you pop back over to the documentation page, there is a place on the current site where you can find all the modules. It's just buried in pretty thick documentation that's really intimidating for newcomers. Like all of those, it's also not delineated as, hey, here's the modules. Boom, here you go. So what that module section would probably be good for is like introduce the concept of a module in Node. Like we do have imports and exports earlier in the Node fundamentals, but like describing what a native module is in Node, and how you interact with it. And here's some of the most common ones: HTTP, file system, streams, yada yada. And then saying, if you want to learn more about the internals of modules, we can like link at the very end of that section. We can link to the documentation page and say, here's the API tags. Here's everything you can import. There's a lot there. because otherwise we'd be duplicating a lot of content that we'd have in that module section on documentation, which
Yeah.
is the cost of like everything available.
I just noticed that I was supposed to change this so this is supposed to say node fundamentals like you have here, and then intermediate fundamentals or intermediate tutorials. So I need to change this, and then advanced tutorials. So this is kind of like yeah, I need to fix this. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
To fix it.
Something else I really like about the structure here, though, is it's easy to add new sections.
Yep.
Because I think, like I said before, I'd love a section on how to deploy a Node application, or keeping or like monitoring in production, or that type of stuff. We certainly will not get to that in the hackathon next week, but we should have the architecture in place to add those pretty easily.
Yeah, we can definitely look to other sites to see, like a good example of like maybe Ruby or whatever has like a really good getting started section or something like that. But what I see in this is essentially a hierarchy that we're starting to create, which is node fundamentals, which in my mind is like getting started, like start here, like getting started content in terms of here's basic things you should understand, and then some more intermediate tutorials, which are going to be explaining some concepts which are just a little bit beyond the getting started stuff, but are not super crazy. And then we can have more advanced tutorials for people that really want to dig into like creating their own REPL environment or stuff like that, basically. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I was picturing like when I first started like dabbling into dev, like, they told me to download Node, but I had no freaking clue what Node was. Like I didn't know what I was downloading. So it would be nice to have at least a section just for
Node idea.
Node idea.
Ah.
There you go. Okay, so that's the learn page. So far, I'll make those edits, and then we'll figure out what type of content we're gonna put.
Real quick. So I see that there's checks on the thing. Were you talking about how those will fill in once you complete the thing?
Correct.
Do you know how we're going to do that so far? Is it going to be like obviously it'll be stored in their local storage probably.
Yep.
Will be like a read thing. Like once they scroll through, we'll be tracking their progress or something like that.
That's the plan.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's the plan. After you encounter something, you scroll enough, we'll throw it in local storage, what you see, and it'll stay checked.
Will you scroll to the bottom real quick? Do we have like a nav like next one button or anything like that?
Oh, good one. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's important. I think it's actually on the current site. Is it?
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, we'll keep that in there.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, cool. I'll add that as well. Good call out. And also previous.
And do we know? I know that this isn't just for this page specifically, but probably for most of it. But how are we pulling the contributors' information? Do we know what that is? Is that like just purely based on the GitHub history?
Yeah, right now we're keeping it in what's it called? Front matter in the Markdown docs. We have some ideas around how to like pull it automatically from GitHub, but at the end of the day, that just it starts complicating the builds a lot, and it's hard. It complicates the build. It's hard to grab the gravatar image or like the profile image from GitHub specifically that way. And it doesn't allow the option for people to be anonymous if they want to. Some people don't like being, having their face plastered over the internet. So, yeah, so we opted to keep it manual for the moment. If we have scaling issues with that, we can revisit, I think.
Cool, sounds good. I just like that there's the contributors in general. I think that's a cool idea.
Cool. So for community, haven't done much because I want to join that meeting on Tuesday with community outreach. So we can talk about what type of content we want to put in here. I did kind of put the taxonomy of what you had, Adam, on your post in here. So there might be some things that we don't want to do for the first iteration, or we're just not going to have enough content to put. But yeah, I haven't worked on this hub.
Yeah, placeholder's fine here for now. We'll just make the page so it exists. I think it'll be more inviting. But yeah, we'll talk more on Tuesday about content structure and ideas and P0, P1, yada yada. Yeah.
And then the resources page, I haven't done much here. Also, I'm picturing this hub being any cool like posts that people have done. I know we have a lot of posts in the current site, so maybe some way that we could organize these here, that'll be awesome. And any videos or anything that people would want to like get to, any tooling or anything pretty much that doesn't fit into these 3 hubs, we can put it in here. If you have any ideas on what type of content you can or we should have here, let me know. Make a comment. But yeah, this is gonna change. Probably is not gonna have a nav. Or, I don't know. Like we'll see what type of content we can have in here.
Yeah, you're talking about the resources section on the current site, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was always kind of my thought that a lot of that content would get pulled into the Learn page. Like a lot of it is kind of Learn page-esque, right? It's here's a deep dive on a topic that you might not know about. So like a lot of the stuff in the current resources section on the website could belong in advanced guides, right? It's like nitty gritty about the run loop, and I'm actually gonna go take a look at it so we can actually talk about it as a concrete concept. Go. Oh man.
It's Node.js, Node.js.dev.
.org.
.org for the old one.
Oh, .org.
And then it's under about.
There's also the docs/guides is the other option.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh look, yeah. So this is a good. Yeah, this is good. So like I think about like this content could go into like Learn. When it comes to like governance and community, well, community could go into community.
Yeah.
Like working groups and.
Yeah, a lot of stuff on the about page. Like the releases page is going to go get merged with the download section. I hope. The resources page there is really just logo. Go download our logo.
Yeah, you're right. So you're talking more. You're talking more about under docs, the guide stuff, correct? Is Adam? Docs and guides.
Yeah, docs and guides is the more like actual content focused stuff here. ES6 and beyond. So yeah, docs itself is, hey, here's where our API docs live, which like it's no longer a separate site. Good for us. We're finally making it a little bit more discoverable. ES6 and beyond. This probably should get merged with the modules section of our Learn page. Like it's relevant information for people who are just getting started. Like, hey, I know JavaScript. Hey, I know what CommonJS and ES6 is now. What's going on with Node and that? So this is content that we need to merge. These are 2 more API docs pivots down below it, 10.16 and 12.9. Guides are kind of like the advanced guides section, and you actually see a lot of duplicate content to what's in the current Learn pages. So we have to figure out what is not caught in there. Like there's a page on flame graphs for diagnostics, which would be great to move in there under advanced guides for like profiling your node process. And they're all kind of in that same vein. You can see, actually, I think you had in your Learn page layout how to publish an API package. Yeah. And then the dependencies section, I think to me at least looks like another advanced guide is like, hey, under the hood, what the heck does this thing use? And then we say, hey, look, it actually is built in C++ and V8. And here's all the magic that makes it run under the hood. If you want to read more, here's all these other projects stuff. So the majority of this, like I mentioned, like it does seem to live in the Learn page, since there's not really much by way of additional resources like videos and all that.
Right.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong there, but that was my initial hunch.
Yeah, so it sounds so far like on Node.js.dev on the new site, the docs stuff is going to be heavily release driven in that content will be sourced from the different releases, etc. The docs, their version, etc. And then the learn page will be highly contributor driven. So there's going to be a lot of content there that's going to be, changing or malleable or whatever, that'll probably survive between releases and whatnot. So it sounds like the learn page is going to be pretty freaking important.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing too.
We'll need humans for sure.
Sure.
Like a human touch is good or something crazy. So yeah, in that regard, Oscar, I'm not sure what other types of content we were thinking about for the releases page, or sorry, for the resources page. We can leave it as an option moving forward if we find it, but it might not be in the P0 cut of this site if we can't find something to put on it by next Saturday. I also don't think we're looking for content necessarily if we don't easily have it accessible to us. So.
Yeah, I agree. We might need to. There has to be kind of like a page for the logo and all that stuff, right? Just a quick page about it.
Yeah. So there's three major sections that it needs to be on the site. It may not warrant a nav item, but would be wonderful to have in the footer. That's like branding guidelines. That's the logos, colors, all that. It can actually be a little like design systems-y type page, which will be an amazing resource for other people coming onto the project later on, or that want to make something that looks nodey. And then the trademark and privacy policy, which are linked currently in the Node.js.org /about section. But like those three sections don't really warrant a top level nav item, or aren't a subpage of a top level nav item, but need to go somewhere. So further would be my guess.
Sounds good. Cool. So yeah. So for now, what I'm hearing is that we keep the nav and just like linking to the three hubs: documentation, learn, and community.
Yep.
And then take the resources out for now. We'll see.
For now, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you real quick was the download page so far. So I kind of went with this toggle between LTS and then current. So it shows you kind of what it just shifts pretty much the same thing that we have today. And then down below you have the individual packages. So and this is kind of like what it would look like if you hover the hover states of it. But I need to put the releases in the release roadmap as well in here.
Yeah, the description of the releases roadmap, I think, is one of the most important parts on this page. What is LTS, what is current, what is Canary, and then here's the cadence with which it's released. I would actually even go as far to say that like those specific windows and stuff, like pick your installer or pick your build to download. That can be a little more hidden because like the 90% use case is going to be that Windows installer, Mac installer, source code buttons.
Got it. So you mean this?
We still need it accessible, but like we can roll it up into a drawer or something that you can expand if need be.
Oh, perfect. Cool. So this might not be as important then. But you mean this table right here?
Yeah, I like the layout of it. Like I like the look of it. It's very easy to get a feel for it. But we probably don't need to show it as the first thing, second thing you see on the page.
I completely agree. Okay, so after this, I'm gonna put right here. I'm gonna put the roadmap and then the release schedule and all that stuff, so people know what they're downloading. And then these, I like I was experimenting with doing like drawer stuff as well. So I have some experimentation with that as well. So I think I'm gonna go with that for this table. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have as of right now. Yeah,
it looks good. Yeah, I was experimenting before with checking the user agent header to pull out the system so that we could probably just prominently display like download your system's release, etc. And then like you're saying, we could probably have a drawer or de-emphasize the rest of them for releases which are not the user's current system, assuming assuming we can pull their system based on their header.
Yes, I mean that's what kind of this button does. So hopefully we can do that. It already checks what platform you're in, and then just click on that and then download the correct package for your platform. But if you really wanted to go more into like, okay, download that specific install,
we could certainly do that. And on the downloads page, we could actually play with swapping out the layout there. You have the 3 options for download. We could have that middle one be larger and more prominent, like you see a lot of sales pages,
right? And
swap the order of it so that your systems is the big one in the middle.
That would be nice. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Another way to do that.
I know that one of the main reasons I ever visit the releases page on the current site is specifically to be like, when's that next version hitting LTS? Like when's that happening? I think we're coming up on 12 being LTS pretty soon, in like maybe October 22nd. So
got it. So people are concerned about when stuff goes out too as well, right?
That's at least when for me, I'm curious. I want to know what is the current LTS, because that in my mind is that's the official version. Since I teach people Node.js, I want to be able to teach them because there's always experimental features that people are playing with Babel and things like that, or experimental features within the current releases. But once you actually get to an LTS release, then typically you get features from previous builds are no longer experimental. They don't warn you in the console or anything like that. So I'm always curious, like, what's the hottest, newest thing I can use without it being experimental?
Got it. Okay, cool. Did you, John, in this page, do you see anywhere where you could get that information? I'm just curious. I'm just doing a usability test right now.
On this page right here now?
Yeah, right now. Did you see it?
So
I put it in there. Right?
Top right, it says latest LTS 10.16.3. I see that.
Is that prominent enough for you, or you would want to see it more like?
Well, it says LTS here. I mean, I could. What I want to know specifically is, like, I guess well, now that I'm looking at the dates, I can know it, so it's like simple. But it's every year there's a new LTS. I believe that's how it works, based on the chart I'm looking at right now. But so the kind of information I want to know is typically like, and that could just be me, I don't know. But what I look for often is, how many months away is this next version, like, going to be when it can be LTS, basically.
Got it. And
so I want to see like the timetable of like, version 14 is already being worked on. When does that come out for LTS? That's
okay.
Which is just 1 year, etc. And then there's like version 13, which doesn't look like it's scheduled at all, at least not on the current page. It doesn't seem to be scheduled for an LTS at all.
We'll drop a link in the page that you're looking at.
Oh yeah, I'll drop a link. It's the about and releases page on Node.js, but I'll drop a link into the chat. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Who maintains this thing? Because this is a image, right?
Right.
That's probably the releases team, would be my guess. I don't know how they generate that, or what the process is for making it. I would be surprised if it wasn't automated in some way, because we're all engineers. So
got it.
We can ask how that's generated. It's a pretty regular cadence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the policies up above for how long it takes to move something, and when we cut new major versions. It's possible. It's possible a thing is just generated on a cron job. But if that's the case, then we can bake that logic into the site. If not, if there's kind of a human touch to this for like specific dates, which actually scroll down. Yeah, it looks like we do maintain a table somewhere of release dates, expected release dates. So find out where that lives.
Yeah, and to clarify real quick, my concern, like I was saying, is primarily in when does active LTS start? Because for me and the content I'm writing, I tell people the current LTS is this. And so I need to like, when this content comes out, what's it going to be? So that's just my particular concern. But specifically on this page, the important information is initial release, pretty important, not super, it's more historical. Active LTS start's important. Maintenance LTS start, I care less about that, but end of life. End of life is super important in my opinion. So that's what I see as the primary information on that page, to be like, how long can we safely, how long can I kick it down the road until I have to upgrade my Node version? That's probably what people are coming to this page asking.
Got it. Okay, so it sounds like
Oscar, for inspiration, I think I mentioned this before too, but I'm not sure. Ember does it pretty well for how they like announce it. Like the first thing you see is the upcoming releases section. Like, hey, here's the pathway to the next. They do minor version, but since their major versions are pretty far apart. But they have a pretty decent explanation for how those what's coming next.
Okay.
And then if we look at, they removed the like. Oh, interesting. They changed the layout since the last time I looked. I like the old one better. They used to have a very visual description of the different release lines and what they did. Funny. Weird. Well, yeah.
I think you have a screenshot of it though somewhere.
Yeah, I do in the article somewhere. But yeah, they have that like. John, like you were saying, that like the path to the next major version, pretty well visualized there.
Got it. Okay, I like this. I'm gonna do this for the path of the next, but I do think that we still need some sort of table like this so that we can point out the end of life and as John mentioned.
Definitely. I mean, Node maintains so many like active release. Like you can see right there, there are back to 10 is kind of a active enough release line, and we need to be able to say what's in maintenance mode. Like Node 6 is going out of maintenance soon, which is like, that's the other reason why somebody might come to this page, is that ancient version of Node will no longer be maintained period ever for anything, like not even security updates. And so like seeing this kind of waterfall of support means current means it's actually being devved on, like it's getting all the new stuff. Active means it's gonna, like, major features might be backported, but it's gonna get all security updates, and it's gonna like that's LTS-ish, or that is LTS. And then maintenance is, if there's a major security issue, we'll backport it, but otherwise we're not touching this thing. But it's stable, and you won't have major security holes if you stay on this. So like a lot of companies are going to be rushing to get off of 6 pretty soon. And having that end of life visualized somehow, or communicated clearly somehow on the site, would be helpful. Much for the same reason that you want to know what the latest LTS is. You want to know what's going out of maintenance.
Got it. But you pictured, like, because this is the upcoming releases. Do you picture having the same for the current one?
Yeah. So the Ember release page, what they've done there works very well for their use case. Like it's a little bit less of a complicated support cycle.
Right.
So you can have that single line to the next release. But it would be nice to have that style of communication, or like that clear communication with the node releases as well. So it won't look exactly like this, but the way that they've structured their release visuals, and I think more importantly their language, or like the way that they communicate about their release cycles, very clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So it won't be a straight lift for the Node site. Like it'll probably be some version of this graphic or some version of this table that is presented in a decent way. But yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, we're strictly on visuals. Let's make the assumption that we can generate this on the fly with wherever we're pulling data for this table from, that the releases team updates.
Yeah, I think we can definitely start with what we have here. Basically, we can definitely start with the table and even that graphic. The point mostly, I think, is that we can do better than this. I don't know. I don't have a clue what it's going to be yet. I have no idea. And releases is kind of like, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around if you're not familiar with it anyways. So I don't know. I have no idea what it'll be.
Yeah, well, I'm designing this thing, but I'm still like learning like how this how this is going. So I think for now I'm gonna keep I'm gonna work on the table, but also in some sort of visual for upcoming, kind of like what they have here, because I do understand that, and I think that's valuable. So I'll have exactly. The only thing is that I mean, it would be nice if we do it programmatically so that we're not having to update these images, because these are images, right? So yeah, I'll work on that. And I'll
for now, assume we can do it all programmatically. I'm pretty darn sure we can. Yeah, I'll dig around a little bit and try and find the JSON file that gets updated magically with this data. I'm sure it exists somewhere on the build servers.
Sounds good. Cool. Okay, so I'll do that. And then what other feedback do you guys have from this one? Does the toggle make sense, or do you guys feel like that's not?
I'm not sure if current, Adam, would latest be appropriate too, or is current more appropriate?
So I think it's whatever language we're using. Like, we want to be consistent with how everybody else talks about it. And it looked like on the releases, the current releases page and in the releases repo, they use the word, it's odd actually. They use the word current right now for that. They also seem to swap out the words LTS and active interchangeably, which I don't like. So like, let's make the decision here to nix the word active because it's just confusing. LTS. Like the three phases are current, LTS, and maintenance. Current being bleeding edge. Current's kind of like call it canary, I guess. It's, hey, we're developing active features on here. We're going to try our damnedest not to break it, but there might be some weird stuff in there. LTS is, we ain't going to break this. The features are there. We're not going to make major. We're not going to make the major changes or get bleeding edge stuff in there. You can rely on it. And then maintenance is security updates only, but it's another form of long-term support.
So LTS means latest. Is that what it means?
LTS means actually, what does it stand for, John? What does
long-term support?
Long-term support. That's right.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so it's the stable release line. It's production ready. So
got it. And there's no way. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would want to keep it the same verbiage if people are already familiar with, but it makes more sense to do a stable and then, I don't know, future or whatever, so that people know in their mind that that's. But yeah, well, I'll keep it the same for now.
Yeah, let's keep the language the same for now, since we're not technically, we control a language. It's the releases working group that manages that. If we think there's a good, and actually, John, this would be a great write-up to do. Just in, like, not even just for Node, but like, what's the language we use across major projects like this for communicating release lines, and what seems to work well, what doesn't seem to work well, and for what types of users does it not work well? Because I think LTS has a very strong meaning in the business world. LTS, if you're talking to an enterprise customer, that's what they want to hear.
It's the only thing they'll consider.
Yeah. So, but meanwhile, LTS doesn't mean anything for open source users. Like, what, that doesn't have the latest feature? Why am I using this? So it's it could be a very interesting article to read, and we might have some strong takeaways to then write a recommendation to the releases team about language there. Wouldn't actually change any technical details for what goes into a release, what we consider it, but like how do we talk about it is equally important.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll work on this page heavily next.
Yeah, everything else looks solid, Oscar. I think let's just get downloads polished, and then we'll be set to hit the ground running on Saturday.
Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not going to finish on Saturday, but yeah, we can at least start.
One quick question: is downloads going to be a top nav item?
Yes, so it is right now. It's on the right. However, you could access it from here.
Oh, my webcam was blocking that.
Oh, yeah, it's on the top. Like
there we go.
Yeah, and you could also access it from here. And I think I had a button somewhere in here as well, or was it here? I had it in the footer as well. I think I took it out, but I'll put it back in. So there is a way that people can go in. Does it make sense to you, John, or will you put it somewhere else? Or
I think it's fine. This is the homepage we're looking at right now, right?
Correct. Yes, this is the homepage, and it's actually on every page. Anywhere you go, you could access downloads or the download thing.
Yeah, I think the only feedback is the that like secondary button look, hollow button look, gets a little lost.
Okay.
So we can play with it, being solid green or what the options are there, but
yeah, or I can put it in here since we're gonna take the resources out. I can just put it as a nav, like an actual hub, because it is actually a hub. So
yeah.
Well, I'll play around with how that looks.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Great job, Oscar. I think everything's awesome so far. Thank you very much. I think you've moved this project forward more than probably almost anyone else.
Man, it's actually fun, and I'm learning a lot anyway. So yeah, it's cool. If you have any other feedback, let me know. And if you can comment on the actual prototype, that'll be even better. But yeah, just ping me if you have any issues.
Oscar, can you do us a favor and drop a link, if you haven't already, yet another link to the Figma board in the current meeting ticket, and we'll.
Is there any way that we can include? Okay. Is there any way that we can include, in here? I'm assuming this is generated automatically. So is there any way that we can include that in here as well?
Oh, shit. You know what? Shoot me the link. So new laptop. I've lost all my browsing history. It's fun. Shoot the link here in the chat on Zoom.
Okay.
I'm gonna add it to the README. Don't know why we haven't done that already. That seems kind of silly. I'm just gonna do that right now.
I'm not sure where I think there's a meeting template file somewhere in the repo. That's probably where we would need to add that to.
It would be really, really nice if those meeting template files lived in the repos that they were concerned with. That might be a fun task for somebody to take up elsewhere. But right now there's a dedicated repo to generating these meeting issues. It's Node.js or Node meeting artifacts or something. It lives in the Node.org space.
Let me just make sure what you.
And it's just a giant mass of markdown files to help generate meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, fun little bit of hack together open source infrastructure.
Yep.
Awesome. Let me know if you have any issues opening that thing. I don't know if he's gonna ask you to log in. It shouldn't, but I'm already logged in.
Loading. Hey, look at that. We're good. Cool. And I'm gonna add that to the main README right now.
You also comment. Is there any way that you could on the top left? You should be able to see a add comment icon. Do you see that, Adam?
I see it.
Okay.
Cool. I've got one. I'm logged in, so I've got one.
Perfect. I do think that to add a comment, I do think that you need to provide at least your name or something because it has to recognize who you are. I think.
Yeah, you gotta log in with it.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Okay.
So what is what's you guys' plan for Saturday? Are you guys gonna be Are you guys? You're both in San Francisco, is that correct?
Yeah, we're both in SF. So we'll be hanging out somewhere together. We actually haven't gotten that far. We have a meeting invite for the two of us, which is about as far as it got.
Do you want to come to LinkedIn, Adam? You just want to do it here? I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just go chill out in the LinkedIn office. We can just like nab the giant meeting room up on. 18.
And we can have the camera on and everything if you want to jump in, John, at some point.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. I'll. So it's not this Saturday; it's next Saturday. Since I'm disappearing for the weekend for a family thing. But yeah, I'll make an issue in the repo so we can track it there, and then we'll have a join link for the hackathon.
Yeah, that's Saturday, September 7th for anybody watching.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anyone in the future?
Math is hard. Don't let the future people do math. Add Figma board to website. Cool. Can't commit to master. Thought I could. Okay. And cool. PR opened with Figma board. Someone go approve it, and I'll merge that in. Sweet. Well, we're coming up on. We have 1 minute until 10. Good timing, Oscar. It's like you planned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll. So anybody online make comments on the Figma board. It'll be in the README in a couple seconds. And we'll see y'all next Saturday.
Cool.
All right.
Sweet.
All right, guys.
Thank you for hanging out, y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm preparing for the hurricane, so I'll be.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're supposed to evacuate, no? Or
we haven't gotten that order yet. It's like
he just loves Node that much. He's not leaving.
The prediction cone is like literally all of Florida, so we have no idea yet where it's gonna hit landfall. But whatever, we'll be okay. We know what we're doing. So, but yeah, I'm glued to the news.
Yeah, let us know, because you might not have internet next week.
Should be good.
All right, guys. You need to get out of there, actually, for the hurricane. Just fly out to California. We can do the hackathon.
There we go. Gotta love remote life. All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.